kind of my dream cage, if we're being honest. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is a very exciting topic that I wish I had back when I was looking into getting a chinchilla. So do you guys remember my chinchilla care guide video? It talks about all the basics and what you will need to care for a chinchilla. Well, I've decided for my next couple videos that I'm going to go into even more detail on each one of the topics I talked about in that video. So today in this video, I'm going to give you my 5 recommendations for chinchilla cages, or if you will, the 5 best chinchilla cages. So I'm going to be listing these cages from most common to least common, with the last one being a very interesting cage. So you're going to want to stick around for that last cage. The first cage on my list is the Ferret Nation and Critter Nation cages by Midwest. Now I combined these two cages into the first option because they are basically the same cage with a few differences. The differences you will see are the orientation of the bars. So the Ferret Nation cage has vertical bars while the Critter Nation has horizontal bars. And this changes the durability of the bars. So the Ferret Nation is stronger and can hold a heavier shelf, whereas the Critter Nation has difficulty doing this because of the orientation of their bars. The gravity and support of these bars is less than the Ferret Nation cage. So if you plan on putting big heavy accessories, you might want to go with the Ferret Nation cage. However, the bar spacing on these two cages is different as well. Now, the Critter Nation cage gets its name because it is specifically designed for a smaller animal, whereas the Ferret Nation cage is specifically designed for ferrets. So the bar spacing is a little bit bigger because ferrets are a little bit bigger. So if you have a younger chinchilla, a Ferret Nation cage might cause some issues for you. They may try to squeeze through the bars and get stuck or even escape. So you might want to go with the Critter Nation if you do have a smaller chinchilla. However, if you do want to get a Ferret Nation cage and have a temporary fix where you baby-proof your cage, I do have a video all about how to baby-proof a Ferret Nation cage for temporary use. So check out that video if you do have a young one that you are worried about slipping through those bars. The last difference between these two cages is that the Critter Nation is about $10 more expensive than the Ferret Nation cage. If that matters at all to you, there is a $10 difference. Now let's talk about the features of this cage. My favorite thing is the big front doors on the cage. This allows for easy access for cleaning and gives you full access to your pet. So if you need to get them in an emergency, it makes it super easy, whereas a lot of other cages have smaller openings that may make it challenging to get to your chinchilla. I definitely love me a big door on the front of that cage. Now this cage is very easy to upgrade. You can start with a single unit and then increase in size from there. A single unit can comfortably house 2 chinchillas. So if you're on a budget, you can start with a smaller cage and then slowly increase the size. And this cage is very easily customizable. You can grow up, but you can also grow horizontally. There are a lot of people that have double-story cages, but they put those 2 stories next to each other and combine those 2 cages. I've even seen triple wide. So there are so many things that you can do with this cage. You can even separate the sections and have one chinchilla in the bottom and another chinchilla in the top. The possibilities are endless. And if you guys are interested, this cage can be shortened. I have a video where I make my Ferret Nation cage shorter by cutting the base off, because it's kind of hard to fit in your basement when you have triple high, right? So make sure you check out that video if you guys are interested. Like I said, this cage is very common, which means there are a lot of things that are made for it. So I have the bass pants, which are metal floor pants that are custom made for this cage. On top of that, they have custom fleece covers to cover that plastic flooring. Yeah. They do. On top of that, there are shelves. There are even fleece liners that are custom made for this particular cage. So it might be worth looking into. Now, there are a few problems with this cage, including the plastic floor pans. Now, chinchillas cannot have plastic because they will chew on it and it can cause impaction. But the solution to this is to use the fleece liners. On top of that, a lot of them come with the wire ramp. You generally want to stay away from this because they could get their toes stuck in it. This is a controversial thing. Some people believe it, some people don't, but I just like to tell people that you can use wooden shelves instead of using wire ramps, so it's more fun, right? But you can cover it in fleece to make it safe, and this cage comes with ramp covers just for that reason. Now, the next cage on my list is the Feisty Ferret Cage, and again, this is a very common cage because it is a nation lookalike cage on a budget. Now, this cage is quite a bit smaller than the Ferret Nation cage, but it only comes in a double unit. However, its price is more comparable to a single unit on a Ferret Nation cage, so you are getting more space for less money. Now, let's talk about the features of this cage. Now, like the Ferret Nation cage, this cage has large front doors that give you easy access to your animal in case of emergencies and allows for cleaning a lot easier. And on top of that, to aid in cleaning, it has a pull-out shelf. However, there are quite a few problems I see with this cage. First of all, because there's a pull-out shelf, there is a wire bottom to the cage, which I generally don't like to put my chinchillas on just because I feel like it's uncomfortable. This is one of those controversial topics where people can't decide if it's good or bad. So I would highly suggest covering up the wires so that it's more comfortable on your chinchilla's feet. So you can do that with fleece or tile or something along those lines. On top of that, like I said earlier, this cage only comes in the double unit. You can't upgrade this cage as easily as you can for the Ferret Nation cage. So if you do want to start small and get bigger, you might want to consider a Ferret Nation cage. This cage also comes with plastic shelving, which you are either going to want to remove or cover, because again, you do not want your chinchilla consuming that and causing blockages in their digestive system. And lastly, the overall durability of the cage is not as well constructed as a Ferret Nation cage. They are generally not going to hold your bigger shelves or your heavy wood shelves. The next cage on my list is the $4.95 PREVUE Rat and Chinchilla cage. This cage is the smallest on my list, but is a great budget cage. This cage comes with safe metal ramps and shelves that you can keep in your cage with your chinchilla. On top of that, it has a pull-out floor pan for easy cleaning. However, because it is a pull-out floor pan, it has a wire bottom, which again, I would highly suggest you cover. However, this cage, you can remove that pan, but you do run the risk of a smaller chinchilla escaping through that hole at the bottom. So you wanna make sure that that is secure. On top of that, the pan is plastic, so that will also need to be covered if you decide to use that plastic floor pan. Now, this cage, like the last one, is not easily upgradable. So again, if you want to buy a small and then upgrade, a Ferret Nation cage might be the cage for you. On top of that, it has smaller front doors, which might make it challenging to gain access to your chinchilla. And lastly, like the last cage, there are a few durability issues. You probably do not want to put larger shelves in this cage because it will struggle to support those larger shelves. The next cage on my list is the Exotic Nutrition Manchi cage, which is not very common to house chinchilla in. And I'm not really sure why, because it looks to be a very great cage. It is similar to the Nation cages in the sense that it can be upgradable. So you can start out small and grow with your chinchilla as time goes. But it is a little bit more pricey than the Nation cages. Unlike our last two cages, this cage is a little bit more durable, But like the Ferret Nation cage, those horizontal bars may struggle to support those bigger shelves. Now, this cage has those big front doors that allow easy access to your pet and makes it super easy to clean. On top of that, the floor pan pulls out to also aid in cleaning. And this floor pan is metal, so you do not need to cover it in fleece. It is safe for your chinchilla. It does include a metal shelf as well, but those ramps with the wires may cause a problem because, again, they are wire and could be uncomfortable for your chinchilla's feet or cause injury. Again, controversial, but in my opinion, you should either remove those ramps or cover them in fleece. Now, the next cage on my list is probably one of my favorites, and that cage is the Crafters Chinchilla Mansion cage. Now, this is the most expensive cage on our list. However, it does come in bundles with cage accessories, which may cut down on some of the cost of buying extra accessories for the cage. Now, this is the most durable cage on this list because it has an inch by inch spacing. Whereas all the other cages have more of a rectangular spacing, this cage has the square spacing. And those extra bars add extra support. So this cage is very much rated for those heavy shelves. Now, this cage does have those smaller openings on the front of the cage, but it does open completely from the top to aid in access as well. This cage also has a pull-out floor pan that makes cleaning a lot easier, but it's so much fancier than the other ones. So when you pull out this solid bottom floor pan, there is a wire mesh underneath this tray that is smaller than the rest of the cage. It is 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch instead of that inch by 1 inch. So your chinchilla cannot escape through the bottom when you pull that tray out. On top of that, there is a metal kind of door in front of the floor pan so that your chinchilla will not escape through that little opening when you pull out the floor pan. So if you guys really enjoy a removable floor pan, Quality Cage Crafters has got it down pat. They know what they're doing. Now, like I said earlier, this cage comes in bundles, and the base cage does come with a few wooden shelves, which are safe for your chinchilla. Now, as much as I like this cage, there are a few problems. First off, this cage is not upgradable. You cannot get bigger and bigger and bigger like a Ferret Nation cage. And because this is made to order, it might take a while for them to ship it to you. So you have those two problems, but this is a pretty good cage. Now that you have your cage picked out, you're probably going to need some cage accessories. So make sure you guys subscribe and hit that notification bell, because in one of my next videos, I'm going to be talking in detail about the cage accessories you need to add to your cage. However, while you guys wait, make sure to check out these videos next. They are all about Ferret Nation cages, and I will see you guys in the next one. On top of that, oh, what was the word I just used? On top of that, I keep saying that.